Welcome back. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan. The Dallas Cowboys had a great season, but unfortunately it came to an end as they're the first ever 2 seed to lose in a wild card round. So we're going to break down the 2023 season and also preview the 2024 offseason leading up to the NFL draft. But before we do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new videos. For the Dallas Cowboys fans out there, we have 3-round and 7-round mock drafts coming up. 3-round mock drafts should be coming up here real soon that we are working on. So be sure to ring the bell and get notified when we create that video. Also, like and subscribe. And Ryan, thank you for pulling this up here. Ended up going 12-5, NFC East champions here over the Philadelphia Eagles. But if we're being completely honest, the way the Eagles played the second half of the season, I'm sure all Cowboys fans love seeing that and the product that they were putting out on the field. So unfortunately, though, and I'll say this now, I was thinking about it, like shocked at the moment, like, of course, you know, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott. But I was really thinking about it. You know, I think they didn't play well, especially in that first half. Like, not going to lie.
No.
I mean, you only put up 7 points with 4 seconds left. I just also think, too, they just ran into a buzzsaw in the Green Bay Packers. Like, the Packers, especially on we're recording this now after the AFC division, the NFC divisional round, where the Packers should have beat the 49ers, if we're being completely honest. They should have put up 38 on them. And I think they just ran into a buzzsaw. If I go and look at these teams, and we're going to get into their team needs and free agency needs later, like CeeDee Lamb had one of the quietest 1,792 receiving yards season. I think that I'm blanking on the exact number. Dak Prescott.
It was like 7th all time on the most receiving yards in a season list. Yeah,
and we do this all the time. I'm not a smart guy, so maybe I just was completely oblivious to it. But I feel like it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Family.
It definitely does. Yeah, I can tell. I've been wanting to talk to you about that. But I feel like I feel like it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and Dak Prescott, he did look better. I mean, they had games, but what team doesn't have bad games across a 17-game season? So it's fun. I know it's fun to rag on the Cowboys fans, but at the same time, it's like this is probably one of the best Cowboys teams I've seen in I think my entire life. I was born in '95, and they haven't won a Super Bowl since then.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. This is probably the best Cowboys team we've ever seen. The other one, the year that Tony Romo and Des Bryant went up to Green Bay and they had the horrible no catch call.
Hey, we're trying to get subscribers here. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey,
I don't know if we want to bring up
Dallas. I'm on the Dallas fan side on that one. That was a horrible call.
But I don't want to bring up bad memories here.
Yeah, but like that was another really good team. But I think you look all around, this is probably the best team that they've had in a very long time. And I mean, I think that statistically that shows. I mean, they were 4th in passing in the NFL. You already mentioned CeeDee Lamb's under the radar, historically great season. They were about average in terms of pass protection there. They didn't run the ball as well as they had hoped. The one thing was they were top 5 in the league in pass attempts also. So I think that was kind of drowning some of their running statistics. Also, they didn't run for a lot of touchdowns, but they did get more yard. Like on average, they got more yards to touchdowns, if that makes sense. And they were very high in the league in giveaways with only 16. And so that ranked 4th. But then defensively too, you talk about balance. They were top 5 passing defense without Trayvon Diggs. And then they were the league standard of average in terms of running defense. But again, I think teams were scared to throw against them because Stephon Gilmore, and then they're going to allow this pass rush to get after their quarterback. I think teams would target potentially trying to run against them. And then
I think also too, and I'm curious on your thoughts, but then also Leighton Vander Esch went down before the playoff run, and so he's their best linebacker. That's going to
I believe it was in the 49ers game when he went down.
Was it that early in the season? I can't remember.
Yeah, I thought it was like week 6 or 7, like week 6.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I knew he went down. I thought it was on the second half of the season.
No. No, it was pretty early on.
Oh, yeah, week 6. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
I am surprised to see them only with 46 sacks, especially given kind of they have DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Dan Quinn likes to be aggressive. They play a very physical style of defense. So maybe that is somewhere where they could really try to improve. But I mean, personnel wise, I don't know who else you're going to get in there that's going to be able to put up a monstrous season than the guys that they already have. So yeah, but then turnover wise, Deron Bland had a heck of a year. I think 7 pick sixes. So that's about almost a third of their turnovers overall. So yeah, I mean they did a fantastic job building a really balanced team. They were able to take advantage of, in my opinion, a slightly easier schedule. And once we saw them on the road against the Bills and the Dolphins later in the season, they weren't quite as potent as they were at home throughout the year.
Yeah, I completely agree with how the Cowboys kind of season panned out. Like even without Trayvon Diggs, had one of the top defenses all year. I think that's a testament to Dan Quinn. The running stats, I agree why it's a little bit more, but I think also too, if you go and look at it, that's why the sacks are up a little bit. I think teams are like, we have to try and pick our poison. If we get behind and then we allow Micah Parsons to pin his ears back or Dexter Lawrence. Is it Dexter or
DeMarcus?
DeMarcus. Sorry, I don't know why Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence is he's a player for the Giants.
That's it. Sorry. Yeah. But we don't want that scenario, so we got to try and control the ball a little bit more. Because then also on the flip side as well, if we just like that Prescott come out here, like him and CeeDee Lamb are just going to absolutely throw down. So I will say, like it was all in all, it was a really good season for the Cowboys. Did not end the way that it went. I'll say I'll troll a little bit. Felt like it ended like in Cowboys fashion. And so, but let's move on though to what 2024 looks like for them. And sitting right now, they are at negative 11 million in cap space. They have some key guys. Oh, I forgot to change free agents. So
you're good.
My apologies. Those are Browns free agents. My apologies. Please ignore that. So when it comes to then the Cowboys, left tackle Tyrone Smith, Tony Pollard's also free agent, Stephon Gilmore. Those are the main guys that I'm looking at right now. Do have Jonathan Hankins, Jaron Curse as well. So apologies about the free agents. Everything else though is correct though, and the team needs, in my opinion, versus then the draft picks. But I think
I was like Jaron Curse is another guy, and Neville Gallimore is a defensive tackle like that could be, and Tyler Biadasz is another key free agent there. But all in all, I think that they should be fine with only negative 11 million. That's not an insurmountable amount of negative cap space that they can kind of renegotiate with. And maybe they can have Dak give back some of that money that he took. So
that'll be a fun conversation to have. But
yeah,
I think when I kind of look at team needs and I kind of look at the draft picks, there's not. I would say like re-sign some of the key guys. Like to be honest, I mean, if you want to re-sign Tony Pollard, I think this would be a class to do it. Like in last year's class, like I wouldn't have re-signed Tony Pollard. Like I'd be shooting for Zach Charbonnet or trade up to go get Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson. Like we're seeing how great that those guys are. Honestly, actually, I bet they would have traded up to go get Bijan, if possible. Because imagine him in that offense with how much
that'd be nuts.
The ball. That would be insane. But
especially he went to Texas, that would be.
Oh, that would be like a Jerry Jones move. And actually, honestly, I would be all for it. From a football perspective. I really like Bijan, so I'm glad we have him. But outside of re-signing some of the free agents, like Gilmore is 33.3 years old, according to Spot Track. Tyrone Smith is 33.1 years old. So depending, I would say, like on if you really want those guys back, but at the same time, though, especially too for a left tackle, 33 is not that old. I would say. I mean, not
that's pretty old. That's pretty old.
Is it? I
mean, those guys play till 35, maybe.
So you could still bring him back. I would think. The thing would be if you could afford him, like he's probably going to want a lot of money, which makes sense. But I think in the draft, though, I think that they can just go best player available for a lot of areas. Like I have receiver number 2 just because of, I mean, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup kind of had like the kind of like receiver 2 by committee. And then you also then had the likes of Jalen Tolbert. He started to develop a little bit. The Kevontae Turbin as well. He had a couple of touchdowns. He had a good season. They're fine on tight end. Jake Ferguson, Luke Schumacher, Peyton Hendershot. Those guys are perfectly good. I liked Dowdle as like a backup running back as well. So if you want to come back and keep Tony Pollard, but I would say like at that 24 spot, there's so many different ways that they could go. I could potentially see the first linebacker coming off the board. I think that they could have a little bit more there. That would be a stretch. Who's the kid from Clemson? I know it'd be a stretch, but at the same time, though, too, we saw the Lions do that with great success.
Nate Wiggins or
no, that's the corner. Sorry, Jeremiah Trotter, the linebacker.
Oh,
the
yeah,
reason
yeah.
why that I could see him maybe rising up just because the linebacking class isn't as great this year. So if a team, Cowboys want the best linebacker, and they can plug him in with Leighton Vander Esch coming back, I think that would be huge. Really solidify the middle part of that defense. But also, if they want to go receiver number 2, I'm thinking, imagine like a Ladd McConkey, or I'm trying to think of or an Xavier Worthy.
Ladd McConkey would be a guy kind of short over the middle. CeeDee Lamb has everything deep over the middle. Or
yeah,
I mean, shoot, even they both can run a wide variety of routes.
Not gonna lie, like outside of skin color, but it reminds me of that Des Bryant, Cole Beasley type relationship.
Yeah,
So it's like. I would think Cole Beasley was that shifty slot receiver underneath and everything like that. Des Bryant was your number one guy. That seems kind of like
CeeDee Lamb is more versatile than Des Bryant, in my opinion. But again, I think the more versatility you can have on an offense, the more you could throw at a defense. So, I really like that combination of those two. They're both really dynamic and diverse guys that I think could be very impactful at the NFL level. And I do think maybe trying to get another left tackle if one of these guys falls to him, the Marius Mims, J.C. Latham,
they might be a good one as well.
They might be in range for Jordan Morgan. To me, this is like the top end of where he could go. But to me, especially in this offense, I think he more projects as a guard rather than being out at tackle. So it's going to be a really interesting offseason for the Cowboys. I just kind of see how they navigate the cap space and what they do with their draft picks and adding on to what they already have. So I'll be interested to follow along, but let's go ahead and wrap up this episode here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It's the best way to help out the channel, and it doesn't cost you anything. Leave a comment down below on what you think the Cowboys should do going into the 2024 offseason. Other than that, we will see you guys next time.